Hi guys, you are watching a collaboration between BBC Introducing and Independent Venue Week with myself, Phoebe Hyyts.
And me, Shereen Kelvin. So we basically wanted to shine a light on an independent venue and see if we could get some advice for up-and-coming artists. So we'll do a quick introduction for everybody. Should we start off with TAAHLIAH?
Yeah. Do I just introduce myself?
Yeah, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm TAAHLIAH. I am an electronic and pop music producer, and a DJ and a performance artist. I think that's it.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
And we played on the show actually before on BBC Introducing. I remember
we had the exclusive first play of your single Brave just there on Friday actually. So
I remember I was complimenting Phoebe on your picture on the profile. Like I was like, literally gorgeous.
Wait, when was that? No, actually, never mind. We don't need to go into that.
Testing my memory here. So we also have joining us Hyyts. How are you guys doing?
Hi, good, thank you.
Yeah, good.
It's nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's very nice to see you again. We'll introduce ourselves. I'm Adam, and that's Sam, and we are Hyyts, a pop band, like you just said. And yeah, we saw you. We saw the room that you were in December. We were in a room, and you were in that room, and we couldn't see you through the room. Oh no, then we saw you in person too. To be fair,
yeah. My gosh, it wasn't that long ago. Your memory's worse than mine.
We've also got Anna from the fantastic rock four-piece Dead Pony with us. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your band, Anna?
Yeah, so I'm in the band Dead Pony, as you said. I'm a songwriter and performer, and yeah, we're from Glasgow and big fans of independent venues, so I'm looking forward to our chat today.
Perfect, and that leads us perfectly to Paul. Paul, do you want to tell us a little about who you are and what you do?
Paul, I'm from Promoters PCL, and I'm the operator and booker for venues such as Sneaky Pete's and Broadcast in Glasgow.
And I don't know about you guys, but I've got quite a lot of personal love for both Sneaky Pete's and Broadcast. I've been to too many gigs to count there, and I've played in them a number of times. But one question that I would really like to ask you, Paul, particularly related to Independent Venue Week is, you know, Broadcast and Sneaky Pete's are both quite renowned for being really intimate venues. Was that something that you deliberately wanted to create when you made those spaces?
Yes. I'm kind of a gig obsessive. I think since I was a kid, I've been going to gigs non-stop. And much as I like working with bands all the way till they get to the bigger rooms, I think there's something special about seeing people learning their craft and making those mistakes that eventually become part of their sets. And that only happens in the really tiny rooms where the audience are right up. And in those, particularly the sweaty basements, there's something about that people lose their inhibitions, and that includes the audience and the people on stage. And I think it creates a much more sort of a combined experience for everybody in the room, rather than, you know, it's great when they get to the big rooms, but that can sometimes be a very rehearsed show by then. And those little moments that are unique to that one night are missing, that you don't get that outside the independent small venues.
Exactly. Do you want to... Sorry, Shereen, go on.
I was just going to go off the back of that for Paul. So I know you've been in the industry. How did you kind of get into having your own venues? So is it 3 venues you've got?
Well, I'm a shareholder at the ABC, but I don't think we can count that at the moment. The art school kind of interfered in that. Yeah, how did I get into it? I was at college and I used to buy just a mental amount of records, and the student union used to ask a lot about bands who they got offered and should they book them. And then eventually they wouldn't take some of the risks. They thought, oh, these bands are too weird. So I offered to start hiring it out and just doing it myself. And it became like I would be at college studying during the day, and at night I pretty much had an event on in the union.
Oh, entrepreneur.
Hiring it out, and it kind of went from there, you know, just this sort of non-stop thing. And from there, I just worked with most venues in the country, and then decided that it would be easier if we had our own small venues to work with the bands in the initial stages and develop them up, because it was becoming too complicated and we had too many shows. Just, that makes it sound really simple. That simple.
Do you want to show off a little bit, Paul, and name drop some of the people that we might all know who you booked in their early days to Sneaky Pete's or Broadcast and now are big names?
Catfish and the Bottlemen wrote a song called Glasgow about playing Broadcast, I think. Courtney Barnett played the first show there. Joy Crooks played an amazing gig at Broadcast and then went upstairs and did a karaoke set in the bar till 3 in the morning. I think played there. DMAs, Mac DeMarco, Ty Segal. It's weird when people ask you that.
Just a few then, you know, just a couple of names that you're responsible for.
Luis Capaldi apparently told someone he played his first ever gig at Sneaky Pete's. There you go.
Wow.
I didn't see that one, which I'm ashamed to say I didn't see that one, but yeah.
Well, if I was you, I would be cutting about with a big gold badge with all of that information on, just to be like, look, that's because of us. That's pretty good.
Not that big a gold badge, but anyway.
So talking about gigs, sorry if you
no, go on.
Talking about gigs, I'm quite interested to hear like the best gigs that you guys have done. So we'll start off with Anna from Dead Pony. If you want to tell us what it's been like. I know it's a hard question because there's so many shows and each show has, you know, its own greatness, or sometimes it can be bad ones. But what's been your best show?
I think that my best show was our last show before lockdown, actually. It was March the 13th, I think, supporting the Dunts in SWG3, the Galvanizer stage, and it was the biggest audience that we've played to, and the energy was just like surreal, and we were kind of playing songs that we were just about to release over summer, and you know, we had big plans for the summer, and then obviously things got, you know,
lockdown. Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely the best gig that I've played so far, I think so.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I bet everybody's just choking to get back out there when all the venues open back up. Honestly, I'm just going to be either on stage or front row. I don't care. I'll be there just dancing, bobbing along to music. What about you, Hyyts?
Definitely a corporate-owned venue.
No, I mean, our first headline was at Broadcast, and I still worked behind the bar there as well, so that was really cool. And we did King Tut's, that was amazing. We sold that out, which was like a mental dream come true. This year we played the Call of Duty World Cup.
Yeah, that was insane.
Oh, sick.
What?
Stadium, yeah, it was absolutely mental. It's like a full-on sport with like commentators and like famous people. And we were like playing some songs, and at the end of one of the songs we got a big cheer, and I was like, right, we're doing good.
Done it.
And then one of the gamers had walked on behind us, and they were all cheering him. He was like one of the famous gamers. And they were like, oh, it's that guy.
That's actually like a sport.
Xbox.
Yeah.
It's really amazing because, and I say this with the most love and respect possible, Hyyts and Call of Duty are not the two things that I ever would have mashed together. So to hear that that's what was happening is amazing.
All of our music is written whilst playing Call of Duty. So
did you guys meet? Oh, sorry.
I feel like mine are considerably less glamorous than some of the others that have been mentioned. I feel like any gig that I've played in like an underground space or more queer underground space has been very, very I don't know what the word would be, like quite exhilarating and a bit more. I don't know if I feel like those kind of spaces have maybe something to offer more than the more. What would the word be? Like, I don't want to use the word mainstream because I'm not really talking about mainstream spaces, but yeah, but the more well-known spaces, I suppose. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sorry to be the different one. Or any gig at the art school. Like, love that venue, RIP.
Well, that was the next question that I was going to put to you all, because it's one thing playing a show, and obviously that gives some amount of thrill, but you do get the same buzz going to see amazing artists play as well. And I still remember it was just after I'd moved to Glasgow, so I was still a very fresh-faced teenager, and I went to see one of the first, I think it was actually the first ever show that Churches put on at the art school, and it was sold out, and there's still a video of it on YouTube, and watching it still gives me chills. It's absolutely electrifying, and I still know so many people in Glasgow that talk about that as a highlight of any musical thing that's happened in the city, because they just came into the stage completely unheard of and blew everybody's faces off, and the art school was such a good venue for that because the crowd were so up and ready for it. What about you guys? What's the best thing that you've been to watch in Glasgow or Scotland?
I'll let them go first.
I need to like stretch my mind far back, like before Corona. I can't even remember what I had for dinner last night. That's what
You sound exactly like me, honestly.
All right, well, Working Men's Club, I don't know if you've seen them yet. I saw them in broadcast and then went to see them supporting Fat White Family in Potter Row, and I thought they were incredible. I think they're a band that, unfortunately for them, lockdown came as the whole campaign for their album was gearing up.
Oh no!
Really blown up, I think. That was really exciting because I'm already massive. I'm obsessed by Fat White Family and everything to do with them, really. Anyway, but Working Men's Club, I think, was one of the last I saw that really was quite amazing.
Amazing, man.
That makes me picture a very vivid thing that I don't think it is a band. I'm thinking of something completely different.
You're thinking of the Phil Monty, aren't you?
Yeah, like you know me, yeah.
Anna,
where is it? Can I go?
Anna, do you have a choice for the best gig that you've seen in Scotland?
It would be between two for me. The first one would have to be when I seen Courtney Barnett in the Barrowlands. It was the first time I'd seen her live, and she was just surreal. She's one of my favourite artists. And the second time would be when me and my mum went to Greenock to see Future Islands, and they were supported by Idols, and it was just so random, but it was one of the best gigs I've been to. It was a great energy. So
wow.
I went. We promoted that gig, and we did the whole tour with Future Islands and Idols, and it was the most bizarre experience because we had these two really hot bands, one from America, and we were dragging them round like Inverness and places like that, and down to Greenock. And the Greenock show was spectacular. And I left, and somebody gave me a lift back. I got the train to the gig. I got a lift back, and there was two things about that gig. One was during the gig, someone came up and said they were maybe on the guest list and had a big problem with it. And I went, all right, I'll go and speak to tour manager. And 5 minutes later, I came back and the door staff were all laughing. And as I got back, I went, what happened? He goes, as soon as you left, the woman who was complaining she should have been on the guest list went, I should let you know as well, I'm a very good friend of Paul Cardo's, and you'll be in trouble if you don't let me in. Without realising she was actually talking to me. And the second thing was all the way back and getting a lift back from Greenock, I was telling someone, that's why we do this. How amazing was that? We just had two unbelievable bands. Idols are going to be huge, playing Greenock. This job couldn't be better. As we got back to Glasgow, I came round the corner and saw the ABC had been put on fire.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And it was just the most up. And then...
yeah, I can imagine.
The moment I've had, I think. I just stood in this fire. Yeah.
Oh no.
Sorry, I've ruined your memory of that gig now.
I wasn't expecting that.
But seeing on Facebook and Twitter that had been put on fire, and we were just like, what the heck? Like, the same as you know, we've had this great experience, and everyone on the train home was just like, oh my goodness, what is happening?
So just a quick note for anyone that might be watching who isn't aware of this, then in the same year or a couple of years apart, two iconic Glasgow venues burned down, which was the Art School, which actually got hit twice, and then the O2 ABC on Sauchiehall Street, and both of them have now been completely shut since long before coronavirus because of these. And it is, I'm not going to use this word lightly, a tragedy for Scottish music, because those were both such regularly used venues and so important to the music scene up here. So just in case you weren't aware of those stories, then yeah, that's something that we're facing up here with venues in Scotland. And so combination of lack of venues and also the dreaded word coronavirus has definitely had a bit of an impact on making music and everything that goes with it at this time. How are you guys dealing with being an artist at the minute? Let's go to TAAHLIAH.
How am I dealing with it? I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I think from my own personal experience, we went into lockdown just as I started to make my EP. So I was very like busy, and lockdown kind of provided me with the space in order to be able to like cultivate a project that I suppose was unconventional in the sense that I kind of expected to collaborate in a more personal environment or experience. I thought that I would be like face to face with my collaborators, whereas obviously it was more via Zoom. But then also I feel like that really, really helped my anxiety of it all, because to like make your first EP is quite strange, and then to do it with kind of like a label backing as well, and kind of not necessarily pressure, but kind of not really experiencing the music industry in a more creative way up until now. And then kind of like I feel like I probably would have exploded if like I was like in the studio with like people and like had to make something at that moment and sort of like had to show my worth at doing that. Whereas yeah, I'm kind of able to step back and sort of take my time with things and then just send them to people, and then that's an easier process of it. But creatively, I think for me it's quite good. I don't think you can, obviously can't speak for everyone else, but
it's quite interesting actually. How it's kind of like worked in your favor.
Yeah, the live side of things is obviously annoying because literally when lockdown happened was when I started to make original music. So it was like I can't even play this original music to anyone, which is like really, really annoying. But then also I have this like complete library of music to play when things do open up again, which is great. But then also it's going to be like, right, okay, we're getting to the point. It's 2 years down the line. I've made like 300 songs. I'm just going to do a 15-hour gig to play them because it's getting to the point where I have like such an amount of volume of work that like I'm making things and churning them out and getting really, really bored of them by like, I don't know, a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Well, we'll be at your 8-hour-long show when we're able to come back. We'll be there.
It'll be you and you alone then. God.
No, I think I would die performing for that long. Oh my god, it's insane. So going to Adam and Sam from Hyyts, do you agree with TAAHLIAH, or is it kind of stunted your creativity being in lockdown and trying to make music?
Well, somewhat, yeah. I mean, just listening to TAAHLIAH speak there, it just made me think something that we've spoke about quite a lot of times is how fortunate we are that we've got each other. Like, we've been best pals forever, yada yada yada. But even going into this period was quite scary for us. So I completely like praise you and think that's like a scary, mad thing to be doing on your own, going into like making music, start making your own music.
Yeah.
And then with the addition of coronavirus on top of that, must just be like a bit mental. But for us, it's been a wee bit weird. Like, we still were writing quite a lot when lockdown hit and all that, but we really fell into a hole of writing lockdown tunes. We spoke to a lot of people, and like it was happening quite a lot. Like every single word or every single like chorus would be like, and the walls are closing in.
It was the worst thing. You couldn't sleep it. I mean, every time, and you would just wait. There was like a big buzzer in the room. You just wait till the person you're collaborating would be like, "This is like about lockdown." You'd be like,
"Did it again."
To get away from it. But I think we it's like Sam said, we were really lucky that we still had each other, and TAAHLIAH hit the nail on the head as well. It's like we're releasing these songs, and it's such a shame because we'd be getting to play this live right now, which is the best part of it. But then also it's like a build up. So it's like, and we've been kind of lucky as well. We've done a couple of those virtual gig things, which aren't the same, but sometimes they're all right. Some of them have been slightly bigger budget with different like companies, and that's been cool. Like we did one at the Forth Road Bridge with like, loads of cameras, and that kind of felt almost like a gig, but still not the same. But that thing is like, it's kind of building up now. So when we do have the first gig, it's kind of like all new material. It's probably going to be terrible, but we'll have fun. So.
No, I'm sure it'll be amazing. But I can imagine, like, as you were saying, obviously, at the Forth Road Bridge, just having that kind of instant connection with the audience. Sometimes when you're on stage, even if you're having a bad day or whatever, and you go on stage and you feel the audience vibe, it just creates a whole new thing. And to not have that, but it's something that I feel like we will like not take granted for a bit more, and like being back on stage or watching people perform is just going to feel so amazing. I just cannot wait for that buzz. So when you guys came into the studio and done the performance, that was like Phoebe and I had felt the buzz of a live performance again. As you know, we told you we were dancing around the studio. It was just felt good to have a bit of like normality again. So obviously, once everything's open back up, I am going to be out, and I'm not going to be coming back in. Actually, I'm just going to be out all the time. And what about you, Anna?
It's been okay for us. I mean, I'm quite similar to like TAAHLIAH and Hyyts, where we've, had a lot of time to just like really write music, and I feel very like TAAHLIAH saying, because I feel like we just keep writing song after song, and we play it, we record a demo and we're like, this is a banger, and then we write another one and we're like, we've got too many to like keep up with now. We've got like enough songs for probably 3 different sets. But it's been okay, I guess. We're at an advantage, I suppose, like where we can all kind of like digitally sort of like share our music still, and still collaborate with other artists, and we've been doing like songwriting sessions with people and stuff. But there's some kind of absurd like comfort in the fact that we're all struggling with it, like we're all going through the same thing. So
all in this together. I feel musical. No, I completely get it though.
Well. But obviously Hyyts mentioned virtual gigs, and that's just, I don't know. There's something about them. It's obviously like we're kind of doing the best that we can. But like I did a gig on like Minecraft, and like I'd made the set and stuff like that, and I was like typing. I didn't have Minecraft or anything. I had to like download it on. I was like, what the fuck? How do I use Minecraft? Oh my god, I just swore. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to swear. And then I was like obviously like drinking and stuff and like celebrating. I was like, I'm doing this for Minecraft. Like this is mind-boggling.
So I've never heard of that. How does that process work through Minecraft?
It's an actual virtual club inside the place, isn't it?
Inside Minecraft. So the promoting stuff got me to like make my like avatar, and it was so bad. I think back. And like also I don't know how to play Minecraft, and I had to get to the stage for my performance. I didn't know how to use Minecraft, and basically I was late to on set, and my best friend used to play Minecraft, so like he had to direct my wee character to the stage. Very funny, but also like what the hell.
At least it's authentic, like being at an actual festival where you don't know where you are and you're trying to be like, right, I need to get to 5 minutes, go.
Well, so that's a good joke, like you're late to a virtual set, like come on.
So from all of you, we've heard different bits about the stages of where you are in your careers, and I'm wondering, Paul, if you've got any advice for bands and artists that are starting out or have got a little bit further. What would you say to them about progression?
If you're starting out and you're playing the grassroots venues like the independent, first of all, don't be in too much of a hurry. Write the songs, get good at them. Start playing the gigs. Don't panic. Don't go out pestering people. Get some links up in socials. Get your socials right, and then send people the links rather than constantly sending them files. I'm sure yous are the same. People try and send you files all the time. And when you get the gigs, remember to promote them. Work with the other artists and everybody else. Appreciate it if you mention them and you get on with everybody. And most of all, be nice to the engineer, because he's the guy that makes you sound good. Listen to the advice. remember his name. And do you know, you'd be surprised how many people get on stage and are shouting things like, "Hoi, engineer guy, can you change this?" Do you know what I mean? That's like, remember his name. He's the guy that will make you sound good. And if you do all of, I mean, be nice, remember your manners. Again, the diva thing sounds good in like rockumentaries, but in real life, you know, people like the bands that they can get on with and get on with everybody else. And
yeah,
do you know what I mean? They work for the gig and they make everybody's life nice and easy, turn up on time, things like that. Once you get past the next stage, it's all about decide what gigs, what's the point of doing the gig? Are you there to get an audience or practice, or do you want to develop your own audience? It all splits off at that point once you get all that under your belt. But the basics is write songs and be nice. Yeah.
Do you remember, Paul, who was the very first act that you had in your venue?
No.
Testing you here.
No. I remember Ty Segall being very early and me kind of underestimating how many people had heard of Ty Segall. Yeah.
Was it a good
turnout? Yeah. I can't even remember the first acts I promoted. Sometimes you remember because you're promoting in lots of venues simultaneously. Yes. So that week or that night, you could have had 6 shows on throughout different places. So
yeah.
Django, I think played the opening night of broadcast, and then came down, and I think I think it's one of them might have DJ'd the opening night, if I remember rightly. We had the show with them, and then they came down the road. Yeah. And I remember I didn't expect because it was really short notice.
Yeah. What about you, Anna? Do you remember your first ever show?
Oh,
was it good or bad?
Probably bad. I can't remember. I can't remember like what it was, but it was probably, I don't know, probably bad. Acoustic covers, you know, nothing special, no superstar story of my first gig was here. It was probably, you know, something bad. I can't remember.
That's good though, because it's real. You know, not everyone comes in with a charting at #1 top spot and everything shiny, happy. Like it takes a lot of slog to get from little dingy, you're on your own with a guitar to rocking out and being on Spotify playlists. It's important to talk about the progression.
One example of what I was talking about there, learn what you're doing first. Those gigs are really important in developing you as an artist. They might not be like a great memory or a great story, but they're the ones that led to you learning to do what you do well.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it takes things going wrong on stage as well. Like you can read about it in books, or you can watch YouTube, like how to deal with these situations, but not until you're in that moment of like maybe a power cut and all the sound goes out. I have personally been on stage before, and we had like an inflatable kind of roof type thing, and it actually the full stage, we had a power cut first of all, the sound went out, and then the stage started falling down. So it was like, what do you do in this situation? I mean, well, we bolted, we were like out of there. We had to like, I ain't sticking around for a stage falling out. Not trying to die. But they managed to like flare it back up, and we went back out there. And you know, it's kind of dealing how to speak to the crowd in that in those kind of times. Went out there, smashed the gig afterwards. But it's like not until you're in those very moments that it makes you. One of my first shows was actually in my high school, Lanark Grammar, and one of the guitarists hadn't tuned his shout out Lanark Grammar. He hadn't tuned his guitar, so we had one guitar in tune, one out of tune, and I was singing Michael Bublé song, and I couldn't find the key for the life of me. I'm like trying to find it, so we had to like stop it, and it was like, somebody, can you please tune the guitar or whatever. I remember the school teacher like, what the heck? She actually swore. She was like, what the heck is going on? And then that was a real eye-opener of, you know, oh damn, all the people are looking at you. What do you say in that situation? And it goes back to what you're saying, Paul. I think like that's kind of the things that can really make you as an artist. And then you think, all right, well, I maybe would have dealt with that a bit different going on to the next show. Have you guys, Adam and Sam, had any bad experiences while you're gigging, or?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, when you were asking what your first gig was, I was like, right, what are you going to say? And I just wanted to basically brag that my first gig was as Prince Charming in a panto at the SECC.
That's amazing.
The rock and roll theme. I sang Great Ball.
Was that
Love it.
What's that?
I just said I love it, Prince Charming.
Yeah, so that was my first gig. There's no reason for that. I just wanted to show off. And then, yeah, we've had some really bad gigs. I think, like, you know, Sam was completely new to making music, and then once he'd been doing that for about a year, we started the band, and then he'd never really been the kind of person that likes anyone to look at him, which is that's my whole thing. So he was quite weird about getting on stage and really nervous, even for the first years that we were doing it. So, but we were fine. I think the hardest bit is actually the talking. The song's all right, you start, and then you're singing, and if you make a mistake, people cannot understand. And we've had loads of experiences where mistakes actually make the whole night, like you were saying, Paul. Like, we had one night, or I think our first gig in London, we were playing a little song, I was on the keyboard, and the stand broke and fell onto my lap. And it kind of like released all the tension. There was like a weird tension in the room before. Then all of a sudden, like, that happened, and everyone kind of laughed, and I just started singing, and everyone was singing along. It was one of those really good moments. It's like, sometimes that can just get people on your side. But I think the worst experiences have probably been trying to make a joke, because we're stupid as well. Like, we say stupid jokes that no one's going to, and we kick ourselves when no one laughs at them. So I think the worst has been like kind of trying to get the audience is just on your side, and then you say something and no one laughs, or everyone's annoyed at you, and then you just have to sing 15 minutes worth of songs still. That's probably been the worst. And that's happened to be honest.
Sometimes it's good to have like backup, because like I get that as well. Like, for me, speaking was always a huge thing, which is crazy now that it can say I'm a BBC introducer and presenter, because speaking for me was always like I'd sing the songs, but I'd be like, okay, I'm going to say this afterwards. I sing, like, and I was always just so much in my head about it. But yeah, and I just kind of started, like, for any artist watching, like, having just some backup things to say, like if the music cuts out, how you're going to approach it. As you said some jokes, just different things, and maybe even like an a cappella to sing if you're more comfortable with that. Just like always be prepared is a piece of advice for any situation. TAAHLIAH, what about you? Have you had any kind of best and worst situations?
Well, I suppose my kind of gigging career started as a DJ. So there's less of that live kind of back and forth between the crowd. It's more just kind of like, and this is very simplified, because this makes me sound like I don't do anything, but it's very much like press and play, then press and play again. So there's less of that live kind of audience interaction. I've definitely had like terrible gigs. Like, it seems that every single time I've played in Edinburgh, it's went terribly. Like, it's just been like bad. And then just like some really like strange ones in Glasgow. But yeah, I've not actually done like an actual like TAAHLIAH live show yet, which is like really, really sad. But then like, yeah, it's going to be good when it happens.
But that's for now, isn't it? Because it is all going to come back, and I'm not sure whether it's going to be in 2021, but it will be returning at some point. And you know, this year is hopefully going to be a bit different. So I was wondering what you guys have got planned for this year. Anna, shall we start with you?
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be gigging again this year. We have got some like festivals and stuff booked for the summer, but whether that, you know, goes ahead or not is a different story. We are working on recording our debut EP, which will be out hopefully kind of like mid this summer, hopefully. But you know, it just hopefully getting back to gigging and touring, hopefully when we can. That's it, really quick.
Paul, what's your take on that as a venue? You know, Anna was saying there that hopefully by the end of this year she'll get to start touring and gigging again. As a venue, what do you reckon to that?
Well, we're in a weird situation that we have a cure, but just don't seem to know how to give out the cure to people. So it depends on that. I think with the situation that the world's in today, that we'll be seeing, we could hopefully see UK artists touring May, June with a bit of luck. I'd be surprised if we see international artists in festivals.
Yeah.
Like August, September, and then October, November, December to be the craziest times ever. I think it was full-on the roaring 20s all over again at the end of Spanish Flu, when everyone will just be jam-packed and every venue will have something on every night, I hope.
Completely. That's what we're crossing our fingers for as well. So is that your plan for the end of this year? You've got stuff booked in your venues?
I'm hoping that I'm not rescheduling things for the third and fourth time, so let's hope, yeah. I'd love to
Fingers,
go to... Yeah.
Fingers crossed for you.
I suppose, yeah.
TAAHLIAH, what's your plan?
Oh, sorry.
What's my plans? Well, my debut single, Brave, comes out on the 5th of Feb. That's my first release ever, which feels quite nice. A week before that, I have a Boiler Room mix coming out, which will be quite exciting. And then my debut EP is going to be out in March, but there's going to be 2 more singles before that comes out. So there's going to be 3 singles and then the EP. And then I'm working on I'm working on a show called The Ultimate Angels, which is a more live conceptual art show that kind of belongs in like a gallery space. And then I'm working on also a live show for like music venues and stuff. But when I'll be able to do them is a different story. I suppose the 2 shows have different kind of vibes. The Ultimate Angels, which is going to be in Transmission Gallery, just don't know when, is going to be more of an intimate kind of space for people that the show's kind of designed for. So it kind of transcends different topics like gender and sexuality and all that kind of stuff. And then kind of the live show will be a more like, I want to say like that show, but like on drugs. So that's what I've got in the pipeline.
Where's that one? I'm coming. No,
every single night, like December, when December comes around, everyone's just going to be like, what the hell?
Yeah. That brings us to you, Hyyts. What's the plans for 2021?
I'm glad drugs was the segue to bring you to us. That's great. Stuff. We've actually got a single. It's Tuesday. We've got a single out on Friday, which is the first single of the year, and then that's leading up. We've got more music than anyone could ever possibly want coming out. We've got an EP in May with like singles leading up to it, music videos and amazing stuff like that. And we've got, same as Adam, we've got festivals booked. Fingers crossed on those, and like live is kind of coming back. We kind of took the
nature is coming back.
Nature is returning. Exactly. When it first started, and then people were like booking gigs and then canceling, booking and canceling, we were like, it's really sad canceling them. So we're not going to book anymore until it's like sure. And if that means we're a couple months late, then that's okay. We'd rather not go through the thing of like doing it. So now for the first time, our agent's been like, no, I think these ones are actually going to go ahead. So we've booked some in, I think, in Glasgow and other places.
This is like the 3rd time round. Like the second time came maybe at like late end of the year, and at that point, our manager Paul was talking about like, guys, we've got all these exciting venues coming up, exciting shows, yada yada. And we're like, Paul, clamp it.
It's never going to happen. But yeah, so that's kind of the vibe. But yeah, like just kind of making music. We've got an EP coming out in the start of the year, and then hopefully second EP coming out in the second half of the year. So just like trying to saturate the market, which is the opposite of what all the label people say you should be doing. And naturally, it's what we want to do, just because we're told not to. So that's our plan, basically.
What a solid plan it is from all of you. It's really reassuring to see so much optimism and positivity about releasing and making things and rebooking things this year, even though it has just been the most difficult time for so many of us. So thank you so much for continuing to put out great content and book amazing gigs. And Shereen and I can confidently say we'll be down the front for every single one of those things when they all start back up again. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming for a chat. That was awesome.
Thank you.
It was really good to chat to you all. And you can catch BBC Introducing in Scotland with Shereen and myself every Friday night from 8, or you can catch up on BBC Sounds if you don't listen to it on BBC Radio Scotland.